Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Barbeno's World. In the last episode, I mentioned that I wanted to be updating to 1.17, the new version, soon. I haven't done that yet, but I am planning to as soon as a stable release comes out, or as soon as there are enough mods that are compatible with the pre-releases. So in the new version, we're getting a ton of new blocks that you need to get from mining underground. And yeah, I'm not a huge fan of mining manually. I really don't mine very much if I don't have to. So I want to come up with a way to get a bunch of these blocks as soon as we update quite quickly. Basically, the idea is that I'm going to invest my time now before I update so that as soon as we move over to 1.17, I'll be able to get a bunch of profits. That's right, we are building a mining machine. And what I have behind me here is a tileable tunnel bore that was designed by Borcon. The version that I built here in Creative is about 100 blocks wide, and it has 16 TNT dupers. As you can see, each slice of the tunnel bore is really not very complex, and it shouldn't be too hard to build. The only issue is the fact that you can accidentally set off the TNT when you're building it if you update the blocks wrong. So for example, you always have to put in the mine carts last by pushing them in with a piston. But once you've got it all built, the system is pretty simple, and it's also quite reliable as long as you don't push the note block too fast. What's special about this tunnel bore and what allows it to be so simple is the use of this ancient debris here. And basically what this does is it acts as a movable block that's also blast resistant. So the TNT will get pushed onto these ancient debris and it'll just sit there until it explodes. This is different from normal tunnel bores because usually the TNT is launched at the wall, but in this one it can just sit on the ancient debris until it explodes. So that makes it a lot simpler, but unfortunately it also means to build this entire thing we're gonna need 48 ancient debris, I think. Yeah, everything else should be totally fine to collect. It's just the ancient debris that I'm worried about. A few episodes ago, I spent ages mining for a few stacks of the stuff, and I ended up turning all of it into netherite ingots, which is probably one of my stupidest moves because these really aren't that useful. To get the few bits of ancient debris that I need, I could do some manual mining by just placing down TNT in a tunnel, which I have done here a little bit just to get me started, but I wanted to do something a little bit more interesting, and also I'll be able to test out the tunnel bore design. So I've prepared a schematic for a single barreled tunnel bore here, and I'm going to build it here. It really shouldn't take me too long. Okay, hopefully I've done everything right here. As I said, we do have to build the TNT duper last, so we're pushing in this minecart onto the duper. That broke. Okay, attempt 2 now. Looks like it worked. Now let's get rid of this and test the system. Nice. Sweet. Nice, our first ancient debris. Overall, mining with this single barreled tunnel bore is probably not the most efficient way of getting ancient debris, but it's quite fun, and also it's getting me used to using the tunnel bore for when I build the one that's 10 times as big. Okay, I've probably spent about 2 or 3 hours mining with the tunnel bore, and it's been fine, I guess, but I definitely think it's a lot slower than mining with TNT. I would say it's about half as fast. But I was able to get 48 of the ancient debris, but since this tunnel bore was so slow, I want to get a little bit more, because, yeah, the speed of this really didn't impress me. I'm also going to harvest these 3. And I'll show you how far it is to fly back. All of that literally took me like 2 or 3 hours, so not the fastest. Okay, finally in this shulker box, I think I have everything I need to build a 20-barreled tunnel bore, if that's what I want to do. So yeah, now I just need to get out to the location that I want to build the tunnel bore at. I picked out a spot that is in a plains biome, and it's also near a mountain biome. So the idea is to run the tunnel bore from the plains biome into the mountains, so it should be somewhere around here. Okay, I think this is pretty good actually. We can start in the savannah and build the TNT duper like from here out to there, and then move it that way. So here we are right below that savanna biome, and I've loaded in the schematic for my tunnel bore. I think I'm going to make it a little bit larger than this when I actually build it, but that's fine. At least I now have a rough idea of the area that I want to dig out. So I'll put down a beacon and start digging out this area. Okay, here's a quick update on the digging. I've done the entire area, but it's only 2 blocks high, and for the tunnel bore, I need 3 blocks of height, plus 1 more so the slime blocks on the top won't stick to the ceiling. So I think I'm just gonna go around like this, and mine out as many blocks as I can in the ceiling. Welcome back everyone. I finally finished up digging out the entire area. It's really nice actually, and I hope I didn't miss any blocks. All of this should be at least 4 blocks tall. So all that's left to do now is actually build the tunnel bore. It really shouldn't take too long, because the tunnel bore is pretty simple. I just really hope I don't mess anything up and set off an explosion. As I said, I do want to make it a little bit longer than this schematic that I have. I'm going to try going for 20 barrels instead of the 16 I have here. But other than that, I should be able to follow this schematic, and I'll do a time-lapse of it. Here we go. The tunnel bore is fully in, and I really expected this build to take quite a bit longer than it actually did. But yeah, it really wasn't that many blocks to place, and since I was building the TNT dupers unassembled, I didn't really have to worry about stuff blowing up. So yeah, now I guess this is the most nerve-wracking part, is I actually have to assemble the TNT dupers by just pushing in all of these pistons and then getting rid of them. and then we can give it a test. So I've made it pretty simple for myself just to assemble these TNT dupers by pulling this piston, which puts the minecart into place, and then I can just get rid of all of these blocks. And I just have to go along to each of the TNT dupers and do the same thing. The dupers should all be active now, so now I have to really start being careful. I have made a backup just in case, and I did test it in the backup, so everything should go fine, but I'm still a little bit worried. Anyways, all I've got to do is replace this obsidian with a redstone block, and that's going to prime the system. Perfect. Now let's give it the first go. TNT is duped and launched. There we go. Nice. Now I'll just go through to make sure nothing is broken. Perfect. As I said, I do want to save this machine for when I update to 1.17 so I can go through the new chunks, getting copper and all the new stone types. But this is so cool, I will give it a few more presses just because it's very fun and also to make sure it's not broken. Now, when I'm actually using this for mining, basically what I'm going to do is hit the button on one side and then fly across looking along the wall for any valuable resources, which there aren't any that I want in this version. But I found out something that's pretty cool is that if I use flight duration 2 rockets, it actually lets me get across perfectly. Usually I use flight duration 3. But if I'm underground, it's a little bit dangerous, so I don't want to risk hitting into walls, and this is the perfect flight duration I've found. Looks like I accidentally blew up some diamonds here. Okay, that tunnel bore was really fun, but I think I'm going to leave it and not do any more tunnel boring until I update to 1.17. Because when I do update, I should be able to get a lot of new blocks from that system. I should be able to get copper, deep slate, tuff, and I might also be able to find geodes with it. And I can also get the new deep slate ores, which look pretty cool. So yeah, hopefully we do get that update soon. But for now, I'm just gonna wait and maybe do a little bit more preparing for the new update. This tunnel board project was a really big one, and it took me a super long time, even if this video wasn't very long. This tunnel bore was a really big project. So I'm not sure if I have much more time to do anything today, so I guess we'll continue preparing for 1.17 in the next episode. And one more thing before I go, I checked this and the total width of the tunnel that the tunnel bore digs is 140 blocks. I think that's pretty crazy. Anyways guys, hopefully you enjoyed the episode. I guess I'll do one more launch of the machine just for the end. So, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.
Barbeno's World, Barbeno's World.